There's a reason the top 1% are where they are. It is not simply about wealth. It is not merely about fame. It is not only about intelligence, talent, or resources. It is about how they think. That's the true secret. The difference begins in the mind. While the masses think about survival, the top 1% think about legacy. While others worry about today's problems, they are creating tomorrow's opportunities. While some chase money, they build systems, leverage time, and multiply value. Their thoughts are not average. Their mindset is not casual. They do not drift with the wind of life. They direct it. They do not react. They anticipate. They do not wish. They will. The truth is, success has a formula, and it begins with how you think. Most people are too busy chasing someone else's dream, walking someone else's path, living someone else's version of life. But the top 1% have made a decision to be intentional, to be uncommon, to be focused. They do not allow distractions to rule them. They are ruthless with their time and disciplined with their mind. When others are entertained, they are educating themselves. When others scroll, they study. When others party, they plan. They know something most people don't. The mind is the master key. They don't let their emotions drive them. They master their emotions. They know that pain is not a curse, it is fuel. That failure is not final, it is feedback. That rejection is not the end, it is redirection. While the average person complains about the economy, about politicians, about bosses and neighbors, the top 1% are busy creating value. They don't hope for things to get better, they get better. They may have a thirst for the thing they want. They don't get better. They don't shrink in the face of adversity. They rise. They are not afraid to walk alone. In fact, they expect it. They understand that growth often requires isolation, that success is a lonely road because few are willing to pay the price. They are willing to feel misunderstood, laughed at, doubted, criticized, even hated, because their vision is stronger than the opinions of others. They have trained themselves to delay gratification. While the masses trade long-term gain for short-term pleasure, the 1% do the opposite. They endure now so they can enjoy later. They sow seeds with patience and perseverance, knowing the harvest is inevitable. They don't measure success by the applause of the crowd, but by the impact they make, the legacy they leave, the freedom they earn. They think long-term, decades ahead. While others think about the next weekend, they think about the next decade. They are obsessed with growth, obsessed with mastering themselves, obsessed with becoming better than they were yesterday. They understand that success is not an event. It is a habit, a lifestyle, a mindset. They know the greatest victory is not over others, but over self. They dominate laziness. They dominate fear. They dominate excuses. They do not let their current circumstances define their identity. They have vision. They can see what others cannot see. They believe when no evidence exists. They invest in themselves even when the return isn't instant. They are strategic, intentional. They have clarity. They know what they want. They know why they want it. And they refuse to stop until they get it. When problems arise, they don't panic, they solve. When storms come, they don't run, they anchor down. When opportunities appear, they seize them with boldness. They are not addicted to comfort. In fact, they embrace discomfort because they know growth lives there. They challenge themselves constantly. They stretch beyond what is easy. They do what is hard, not because it's required, but because it's necessary for greatness. They read daily, not to impress, but to improve. They ask questions. They stay curious. They surround themselves with excellence, not ego. They seek mentors, not cheerleaders. They crave truth, not flattery. And perhaps the greatest difference, they take full ownership. They don't blame, they don't wait, they don't wish. They act. They assume complete control over their destiny. If something is wrong, they fix it. If something is lacking, they build it. If a door is closed, they create another. If the world tells them no, they find a way to make it yes. You see, the average person avoids risk, but the 1% understand that risk is not the enemy. It is the price of reward. They take calculated risks. They fail fast. They learn faster. They adapt, adjust, evolve. They are relentless. Relentless in their pursuit of excellence. Relentless in their standards. Relentless in their mission. They don't need permission. They don't wait for approval. They are driven by a deeper purpose. They are immune to distraction because their mind is governed by vision. They know what matters, and they eliminate what doesn't. The 1% think like creators, not consumers. While others consume entertainment, news, opinions, the elite create value, products, solutions. They don't sit back and watch others win. They get in the arena and fight for their own victory. They know success is not for the lucky, it's for the disciplined. It's not for the gifted, it's for the committed. They don't just want success, they are willing to pay the full price. Every day, they think in terms of service, not just success. They build businesses to solve problems. They lead to elevate others. They generate wealth to expand good in the world. And above all, they understand that nothing changes until they change. That mindset precedes money. That belief precedes behavior. That thoughts precede transformation. While others say, I can't because, they say, I will, no matter what. While others wait for motivation, they move with discipline. While others hope, they hustle. They don't need a perfect plan to start. They start and adjust as they go. They don't fear imperfection. They embrace progress. They don't look for easy. They look for meaningful. The world sees them as extraordinary, but in reality, they have simply trained their mind to think differently. That's the root of it all. They think differently. They rise early when the world sleeps. They invest when others hesitate. They sacrifice when others indulge. They persist when others quit. They think possibility when others see limits. They speak victory when others speak defeat. They act with courage when fear surrounds them. That's how the top 1% think. And so the question is not, can you become one of them? The question is, will you train your mind to think like them? Because the truth is this: every single person has the potential to rise, to evolve, to lead, to build, to leave a legacy. But it will take more than wanting it. It will take thinking differently. It will take replacing excuses with execution, replacing entertainment with education, replacing comfort with challenge. Because the top 1% did not stumble into success, they designed it. They did not fall into greatness, they forged it. And so can you. If you choose to think differently, if you choose to believe in the power of your mind, if you choose to build discipline like a fortress, if you choose to persist long after it becomes hard, if you choose to invest in your mind like it's your greatest asset, because it is, because it's what's inside, not what's outside, because it's honors what matters, not compliments, because it's your destiny is shaped not by your background, your resources, or your current status. It is shaped by your thoughts, repeated daily, with unshakable belief and relentless action. So today, don't just decide to dream, decide to think like the top 1%, because that is where the journey begins. They are strategic with every move they make. Nothing is random. Every morning is planned, every hour accounted for, every action aligned with a greater purpose. You'll never hear them say, let's see what happens. No, they decide what will happen. They don't leave life to luck. They build their own fortune brick by brick, thought by thought, step by step. They train themselves to respond rather than react. In crisis, they are calm. In chaos, they are composed. They don't let the noise of the world shake the clarity of their mission. Their focus is like a laser, burning through doubt, distraction, and delay. Their vision is unshakable. And because of that vision, they do what others avoid. They face the tough conversations. They walk through uncertainty. They risk their pride because they know that growth often feels like discomfort, and success is usually hidden behind multiple doors labeled hard, painful, and uncertain. They are not interested in easy wins. They aim for mastery. They aim for excellence, not mediocrity. They aim for lasting impact, not fleeting attention. They do not settle. They do not compromise on their potential. They don't lower their standards to fit into the world. They raise their standards and force the world to adjust to them. They are obsessed, but not in an unhealthy way. They are obsessed with becoming who they were truly meant to be, obsessed with fulfilling their assignment on this earth. They treat time like it's sacred. They treat learning like it's oxygen. They treat progress like it's their responsibility. And when they set a goal, it's not a wish, it's a promise, a contract with themselves. Failure is not an option because the identity they've built does not allow quitting. They are not driven by motivation. They are driven by mission. They are not fueled by comfort. They are fueled by challenge. They do not compete with others. They compete with their former self. They are constantly asking, how can I grow? How can I improve? How can I get sharper, faster, stronger, wiser? They seek feedback because they are not afraid of being wrong. They are afraid of staying the same. They aren't chasing success just for the sake of status or applause. They're chasing purpose. Purpose that fuels every action. Purpose that wakes them up at 4 a.m. when the rest of the world sleeps. Purpose that says, this matters more than how I feel. This matters more than temporary comfort. They look at failure as tuition. Every mistake is a lesson. Every setback is a setup. They gather experience like tools and turn pain into purpose. That's why they're powerful, because nothing is wasted. Not one failure, not one betrayal, not one breakdown. Everything is used. Everything is converted into wisdom, clarity, or resilience. They understand that confidence isn't a feeling, it's a decision to trust themselves, to trust their preparation, to trust the process. Even when there's no crowd, even when there's no support, even when the scoreboard says 0. They don't operate based on what's visible. They operate based on vision. Vision is what sustains them. Vision is what anchors them. While others see lack, they see leverage. While others feel pressure, they find power. They know the external world will always mirror the internal one, so they guard their thoughts like treasure. They don't waste time explaining themselves to small minds. They don't need validation from people who have never built anything themselves. They stay in their lane. They protect their peace. They trust their calling. Their self-talk is different. They speak to themselves with power, with purpose, with expectation. They say things like, I am built for this. I will figure it out. This challenge is making me sharper. While the average person says, I don't know if I can, they say, I will until it's done. They understand the power of repetition, the power of routine, the power of doing the same thing with excellence, again and again until mastery is achieved. They are patient, not because they are weak, but because they know true strength is measured in how long you can stay consistent. They don't chase inspiration, they create it. Every morning they generate momentum, with movement, with gratitude, with intention. They don't wait for the perfect day. Every day is seen as a new opportunity to dominate. And when things fall apart, as they sometimes do, they do not fall apart with them. They rebuild, smarter, wiser, stronger. They see chaos as a sign that they're getting closer to the next breakthrough. They invest their energy wisely. They don't argue with fools. They don't entertain drama. They don't water dead plants. Their attention is focused on what builds them, what grows them, what sharpens their edge. They know what the average person never realizes. Your life rises or falls to the level of your mindset, not talent, Not background, not luck, not your past. Mindset. And they take extreme ownership of that mindset. They don't let the world program them, they program themselves through books, through mentors, through reflection, through silence, through focused, deep thinking that stretches the imagination and awakens the soul. Their goals scare them, but they pursue them anyway. They aim for what others call impossible because they understand what's impossible to the crowd is inevitable to the committed. They are not desperate to be liked. They are obsessed with becoming effective. They don't ask, will people approve? They ask, will this move the mission forward? They understand that being misunderstood is part of being great, that criticism is the companion of progress, that isolation is often the cocoon of transformation. They are willing to go through seasons of invisibility to prepare for seasons of influence. Because they're not focused on being seen, they're focused on becoming solid. Their mind is trained to see lessons in every loss, opportunity in every obstacle, and purpose in every pain. That's what makes them different. Not luck, not magic, not privilege, mindset. And the best part? This way of thinking can be learned, can be practiced, can be chosen. The path may be narrow, but it is available to anyone who dares to think differently. So now, you must decide. Will you continue thinking like the 99%, reacting, drifting, waiting, and hoping? Or will you choose to step into the mindset of the top 1%? Because this is not just about money, it's not just about success, it's about becoming the kind of person who refuses to settle. The kind of person who commands their life with clarity, with courage, with conviction. The truth is, greatness is not handed down. It is earned in the trenches of discipline, focus, and mental transformation. And it all starts in the mind. It starts with one decision: to think differently. Your future does not change by chance. It changes by change. And the first, most powerful change you can make is in how you think, how you believe, how you see the world, and how you see yourself. You are not limited by your past. You are not defined by your circumstances. You are not trapped by your upbringing. You are only limited by the thoughts you continue to believe. If you want a new life, build a new mindset. If you want to join the 1%, start by thinking like them. Every day, every hour, every moment. Because once you master your mind, you master your life. And when your mind is unshakable, your future is unstoppable.